This is Changeling the Podcast. Here come the outtakes. So there was a friend of mine was talking once about a supervisor she had who was very, very friendly, very accommodating. But she had this thing that she would say where if you approached her and had some kind of thing you were enthusiastic about and you laid it all out and said, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm looking forward to, whether or not it was related to work or just some personal thing. But she would nod and smile and listen politely as you just laid it all out. And then she would say very, very reassuringly with like a hand on your shoulder, dreams are free. To me, that seems like a soft ravage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was thinking that is a... Remember how... I don't know if they had that anywhere. Because there was the, like, evil musing thresholds in the Harbingers of Winter. Is there,
yeah.
Is there, like,
Something
nice
like
ravaging thresholds somewhere?
Did you have a favorite moment?
Favorite moment, like, when I was reading this?
Yeah. There's one that stood out to me that I wanted to mention. So
I mean, the ravaging locations, I think.
yeah.
I was like, I loved it, but then I'm also like, there's no rules for it. I'm not the... But like, I need this in my game now.
Yep.
What was yours?
Well, I mean, there were several moments that I picked out that I liked, but the one that I just found was fun is when they talk about the rules for goblin chainsaws. So goblin chainsaws are chainsaws where other objects have been mounted onto the chain, such as razor blades, bits of glass, severed forks, steak knife tips, etc. It requires dexterity plus melee difficulty 8 to use, but inflicts strength plus 7 damage. However, if you botch your attack roll, each one inflicts 1 level of damage on the users. Chimerical chainsaws only give the illusion of removing limbs with more than 5 successes. Goblin chainsaws actually do it. But then my favorite part of this is using 2 goblin chainsaws at once, which is the, quote, Florentine technique, increases the difficulty to 9 and requires you to split your dice pools. It does look impressive, though. So just,
I think they should have a strength minimum, too, but yes.
Yeah.
Especially the 2-wheeled.
So yeah, dual-wielding goblin chainsaws is the Florentine technique, which is a piece of information that I think I needed to know.
Oh, a torque's a crown.
No,
crown,
no,
right?
No, it's a neck thing.
It's a
Oh, it's a
ring
neck thing. Okay.
with an opening in one bit. That you
Does it explain it
Yeah.
here? Did I miss that? Or did they never say what a torque
It's a neck bangle.
But does it say that in the book? That's another...
No.
I don't think so, no.
No, it does not. The big lumpy bits on the end of the ring in the picture on page 14, those should sit on your collarbone if you have a properly fitted torque.
And if it's not properly fitted, they will press on your jugular vein.
Yep. The one I had in high school does not fit anymore and does just fine.
Oh no.
That sounds horrible.
It
Okay.
is. But I can now wear it as an armband, so that's okay.
Hey.
Wait, they gave you a torque in high school? Or did you...
No,
get that
I
on your own?
got one.
Okay. It wasn't a weird school tradition. Okay.
No. Oh gosh, that would be cool.
It's a uniform torque.
Most Americans I came across on the internet
Oh boy.
when Elizabeth II died this year, this is a very common view of how the monarchy works from them.
Oh.
Like, the number of Americans telling me all the horrible things Queen Elizabeth did politically, like
Boy.
and like wars she did and invasions, and I'm like, that's not... No. But
Yeah.
like, I'm not a monarchist either, but
Yeah.
and you can talk about personal stuff she did, maybe, but like...
Yeah. Well, yeah. The general feeling over here to a lot of the stuff coming out of America when the Queen died was just kind of, really? One, someone's dead. Why are you saying this?
Yeah.
2, you're really not... Ugh, okay, here's my little tangent again. Queen Elizabeth, ignore the fact that she was queen for a moment. People respected her for the fact that she was Elizabeth Windsor, and that as a person, she did do a lot of incredible things. She wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but even Sinn Fein said respectful things about her when she died. Even people that vehemently disagreed with her respected her and what she did. If anything, Elizabeth II should have been the third big queen in the history section, and should have had a massive positive impact on the She's dream. Because
she's she is what High King David is
before he.
I think it's also important to point out, though, that this book was written kind of, well, in my understanding, at the height of criticism of the monarchy surrounding the treatment of Diana in particular.
That's fair.
Because 96, 97, I think, even in the US, people were like, they're so mean to her. And
as anything, the more you dig into it, the more complex, because people are complicated. But yeah, it bothers me that they reduce what could have been, again, a really interesting theme to such a cookie cutter stereotype. Yeah, anyway.
Especially when you compare it with Court of All Kings, for example, where we get 2 full pages describing every single political party and paramilitary group in the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is the weird thing. The book on England seems less pro-monarchy than the book on Ireland.
Yep.
All I'll say as a U.S. resident upon the death of Elizabeth, I mean, I was expressing my own sort of dismay, and I had a lot of people saying, what do you care, And all I will say is that having a head of state, nominal or otherwise, who demonstrates respectfulness, dutifulness, and decorum is such a rare thing anymore in my country that seeing that is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Yeah.
There was it was, I'll say one last thing on it. It was bizarre at how much it impacted even people that, I always thought, well, I respect her as a figure, but, I'm not that bothered. I'm shocked and a lot of people said how shocked they were, how much it cut to the heart, I think, of English identity. England's not proud of much of what we have. I've said before, no one's more critical of the English than the English. Elizabeth II was one of the few things we had going for us. It was her and Doctor Who, and we've lost her now. So
yeah, Charles III, just not quite.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. But
yep. Oh, this also highlights how there's no changeling kiths that are milk focused, which in folklore there should be. I guess maybe the Boggins, but
yeah, I would say any really traditional British folklore fae would have some kind of milk connection, which is a weird kind of statement to make.
I just wish there was a birthright or frailty that was milk focused in one of the core kiths.
I mean, you could echoes. Yeah. Just take the echoes.
New storytellers will come up with a new kith for Storytellers Vault based around milk. There we go.
Did I explain to you my 5-point scale of 1990s White Wolf?
Go for it.
Whenever you want to write an STV supplement on a subject, you have to make a intelligence plus 1990s White Wolf roll. And the points of 1990s White Wolf are 1 point. I'm only going to discuss things that I have personal experience and academic experience with, and it is my culture. 2 dots. Well, I'm pretty familiar with this stuff. 3 dots of 1990s White Wolf is yeah, I took a whole course on it in college. Of course I know Buddhism. 4 dots is I love anime. And 5 dots is there's a college library. I can figure it out. So I always like to describe books in terms of dots of 1990s White Wolf that they brought to bear. And one of the things that I really feel like is holding the STV back is people insist on having 1 or 2 dots in 1990s White Wolf, where I'm like, no. Just run with it and put an apology at the front and rip the delete key off of your keyboard and just go. So I like when we get those periodic throwbacks.
It sounds like a very high-powered, a lot of XP.
Yes, it's almost as powerful as Stone Lore.
Yep.
Almost, but not quite.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk about how they have an aside on coracles? And I just assumed that was about corgi oracles, and sadly it is not.
It could be both.
It could be. And
I'm now envisioning 6 corgis riding in a little boat.
Yes, with immense magical power. Like, if that's not a
Yes.
mythical thread, I don't know.
You mean mage? Oh, I thought there's two kinds of oracles that could be relevant.
Oh, what's the other kind?
Well, just like seeing the
Arete 8.
future and kind of thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Arete 8 versus seeing the future.
6 corgis with Arete 8 arrive and say, "We have brought snuggles and portents."
When Mage the podcast runs out of episodes and we have to start talking about Pugmire, I am all over that.
Yes. I have not wanted to play Pugmire until this moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Didn't we say before you want to talk about the map?
oh god, the map. Just very briefly, here's what I think happened with the map. As this book went to print, somebody decided we need a map, and it had to have typed labels. So what someone did is they took like a blank map of the UK, hand wrote a bunch of names on it, and gave it to a graphic designer who very faithfully mislabeled many, many places in the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
My favorites, I think, are Glasgow in Scotland, and what else? Caledonia, the border between Caledonia and Albion, and the fact that there are 2 Portsmouths on the southern coast of England.
Well, it's Portsmouth, right? That's the plural.
Yeah.
Sure.
The Governors General, right?
Yeah.
There's also Gladstonbury instead of Glastonbury, Glamorgan instead of Glamorgan. I mean, there's just so many.
It is a bit weird that they have Ireland too in it, but like only part of it.
Yeah.
Well, and Ireland appears to just extend forever to the west.
It does.
Yeah.
I like that as an idea.
Well, if you want a Tolkien reference, I think that works.
Yeah.
My kid and my partner got me to watch a Lifetime movie, and like there actually is. We were like joking that her partner's like, "Oh, he's clearly queer coded," and then he hooks up with a guy at the end. So it's like, okay.
Hey. Was it better than that KFC funded Lifetime?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's I don't know if it was Lifetime or no. I think it might have been a Netflix, but it was Lindsay Lohan starring in it. I think no.
Weird.
Was it Lindsay? Anyway, but yeah, it was a Christmas movie, and it was not. It was a very bad story, but it was intentionally bad. I don't know.
I hope you know this is all going to become a patron outtake.
Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, it was but it's just like, yeah, her partner's like, oh, hooks up with the other guy. I'm like, oh, that was impressive. They did that. I guess things have really changed.
2022.
We could use a Troll Babe styles or lasers and feelings changeling hack. There we go.
Okay. I don't know what
if
those
you're
words
familiar
mean,
with that
but
game.
I am not.
It's this one game. It's a Star Trek pastiche game, and then it's been hacked into so many other things. And you have essentially 1 stat or 2 stats, depending on think of it, lasers and feelings. And it's like it goes up to 10. I can't remember how mechanically it works, but you could your lasers plus your feelings always equals 10. Or when hack it, they come up with some other dichotomy where it always equals 10.
Do you know what else works like that? Is Honey Heist, except the stats are bear and criminal.
Yeah, I think that Honey Heist is in part of Lasers and Feelings hack, if I remember correctly, from the developers.
There we go. I actually had a lot of. I'm such a bittersweet memory. So the online text game that I was in a while back, where I played a she for the first time in many years, but said she was a House Darren Cauldron housekeeper, so had Holdings 1 and had a little pub. And I had so much fun just pouring description into that freehold. Like, I made a playlist for the music that was being played. I found photos. I wrote all this description, and it was just like, it was a very glamorous exercise. And then the server got, canned one day when nobody was looking. So.
Yeah. Oh no, the freehold was destroyed.
It really, yeah. As a postscript, I think we should probably do a freeholds episode at some point, like specifically to dig into these. Probably a treasures episode too, for that matter.
Yep. There's so many topics, but yes.
Yeah.
Did we already have the argument about whether or not mages are high or low banality?
Depends on the mage. That's what I go with, but yeah. I don't think we had the argument.
I'm generally of the opinion that they are high banality. I am using the interpretation of banality that someone who is extraordinarily doctrinaire would also be banal.
But we have like very doctrinaire she.
Yes. Pardon me. Doctrinaire mortals.
Yeah.
At least as per mages, like your power is correlated with the ability of you to instill your will around you, and that to me is the opposite kind of glamour. So my idea is basically as your rete rises, your willpower is more forceful, and you just shove everything else out of the way.
Yeah, I don't see that as quite being the same as banality. Like, to me, this is my own interpretation. The books are less than consistent or clear, but my interpretation is, for instance, if you ask why are most technocrats banal, it's because of the social structure of the technocracy. Like, it's not just technology or working your will or whatever, but it's, are you giving up your dreams to fit in? Like, that's the most banal thing to me.
Arguably, though, that's something that non-technocrat mages could have happen to them as well.
Yes, there can be a high banality. There definitely can be, and like, I think if you go among the like highest levels of the Hermetics, you'll probably find a lot of that too.
I don't know, because to me that's one of those things where you're there because that is your dream. Like you are a hermetic because you wanted to have that kind of quest for power. You are in the technocracy because you do believe.
But what did you give up to get that power? Like, what other dreams did you sacrifice? That's where it.
Okay, so to you, someone who takes to you, ascetics are high banality.
Potentially.
Okay.
But it's also how much you're imposing it on others. And anyway, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, it's an argument that could go on for literal days. So
yeah. It's awesome. I think we left out the most important dream realm, though. The town of Balloon.
Yes. Where the giant floating spires. Yes. I was pleased when I saw that.
But yeah, thank you very much, Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell another just side anecdote? I'm going to cut this later, but I think this statement still holds true. I was the last person knighted on stage at the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair as the prize to the scavenger hunt. I think that's still true, because it was like they had a thing where you would go around and it was like Clue, you was you had to determine the weapon, the place, etc., and you got clues from all the shopkeepers, and we used to go every year for high school, like a high school trip, and the one year we all met at the booth at like 5:00, and they read out all the names and they gave out all the prizes, and I didn't get anything, which was like disappointing. But then they asked if they was like, is Puka here? I mean, they didn't say Puka, but that's a separate story. And they said at 6:00 to come up to the stage and make the accusation. So I did, and then I got knighted for it. And I believe they discontinued it after that. That was like the final weekend of the fair, and then they didn't keep doing it. So it's a very proud moment.
There were so many LARPers in the PA Ren Fair cast, unsurprisingly, obviously.
Yeah.
But we used to catch them doing rock, paper, scissors, and we'd be like, we see you. We know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. This is one of the things when we had our comics and graphic novels episode, and I mentioned Die as one of my go-to choices. So the protagonist of the story is like a married guy with 2 kids, everyday job, whatever. And then when they enter the game world in the first issue is like a super powerful lady diplomat type. And it's interesting. The friends 25 years ago when they first started this game, that was just like, oh, okay, that's his character. They were teenagers. And now 25 years later, they were like, do you maybe want to talk about this? And he's like, yeah, I mean, this was where I was able to express my transness. And like, that's the kind of thing which I think you can model in Changeling much more, in a much more productive way than you can in the other World of Darkness games. I was once told that in Norwegian, they now use the word Texas to mean something that's just absolutely out of control, overblown, and dangerous. So, I don't know. I think it's kind of percolated through the world culture. But yeah, point taken.
something's percolated through. A distorted funhouse mirror's percolated through.
Yeah.
As Winterregnum draws to its inevitable close, it is our fervent hope that the Umbolc fires will spark new glamour in all of you, our listeners. We have also conducted a study into whether balefire can be used for a chimerical Molotov cocktail that, when deployed in an area of high banality, can inspire the masses to commit random acts of creative tomfoolery. Data points are still incoming, but early indications point to yes. This little walk down memory lane minisode is sort of our own attempt to stoke the embers before we return to full episodes, and it was made possible with the support of our patrons: Derek, Dorcadus, Elleris, Eopol, Jason Vines, Oreo, Raskaboos, Sanchiger, Sija, Simon Strand, the benevolent spirit of Terry Robinson, and Victor Torrey. You too can become a patron to help keep our own fires lit at www.patreon.com/changelingthepodcast, and we welcome conversations and the occasional joke on our Discord at discord.me/ctp. Keep your cloak wrapped tight as the Cailleach walks abroad, and until you hear from us again, keep on dreaming.